This indeed is the day that the Lord has made, and for that reason we rejoice in it. Will you give God some praise? Amen. Please be seated in the presence of the Lord. Once again, we say thanks, and we say welcome to those who are worshiping with us in person and online. As always, those who are worshiping virtual, if you would be kind to share this worship experience with your online community. It is our prayer and hope that something that is sung or said will lift and encourage them where they are in life at this moment in juncture. I want to continue our series for this month, Where is God When It Hurts? I want to talk this morning from the subject, When God Feels Silent. And I will attempt to be brief yet beneficial. When God feels silent. When you say that with me, when God feels silent. How long? How long? How long? I've got a question for someone this morning. Have you ever prayed and it felt like your words just bounced right off the ceiling? Have you ever cried in the midnight hour and the only sound you heard was the echoing of your own voice sobbing? Somebody talk back to me. Silence can be heavy, silence can be hard, and sometimes silence can be haunting. Silence can feel like betrayal. Silence can feel like you have been abandoned by God. Silence can feel like God has packed up his bags and left you all alone. And in our text this morning, David knows something about that kind of silence. This warrior, this worshiper, this man who is a heart after God lifts his voice in Psalm 13 and he cries, "How long will you forget me forever?" Like the blues singer used to moan, "Nobody knows the trouble I've seen. Nobody knows my sorrows." David sings like the blues. He's not whispering, he is wailing. He's not sugarcoating, he is soul bearing. He's showing us that silence isn't just about unanswered prayer, but it's also about unanswered pain. But I didn't come here to leave you in silence this morning. I came here to give you some good news. The good news is that God's silence is never his absence. And even in the midst of the waiting, God is always working. Somebody say that to your neighbor. He may be silent, but he is still working. Lean in with me for a few moments. When you hold this text up, it begins by saying a word about the silence that stings. David opens with four gut-wrenching words. How long, Lord? Not once, not twice, four times. This is not theology, church. This is therapy. This is not doctrine. This is desperation. Listen to what David says in Psalms 13. How long will you forget me? That's the fear of abandonment. How long will you hide your face from me? That's the pain of rejection. How long must I wrestle with my own deep, dark thoughts? That's the battle of anxiety. How long will my enemies triumph over me? That's the sting of defeat. This word forget in the Hebrew, it means to ignore. It means to neglect. David is saying, God, did you misplace me? God, did you erase me? Church, I came to remind somebody that God doesn't misplace his children. Now, how do I know that to be true? Because Isaiah says that God has engraved your name in the palms of his hands. Church, I know silence can feel like betrayal, and when God doesn't speak, the devil begins to whisper. He begins to speak to you, and sometimes he say things like, "See, God's left you. See, God doesn't care." But somebody here this morning needs to know that God's silence is not God's abandonment. Somebody here this morning needs to know that God's silence is not that he's hidden his face from you. Is there anybody in here who knows what I'm talking about? I'm talking about those who experience silence and you've asked that question, God, where are you? God, how long are you going to take before you show up? Is there anybody here who's experienced the silence when the doctor walks in the room with bad news, when the casket is lowered in the grave, when the marriage papers are signed, when you've prayed and prayed and prayed and prayed and prayed and prayed, and heaven seems to be quiet? Today's community is plagued by violence and people are crying, how long, God, would you allow this injustice to take place? Parents are burying children because of gun violence, and they're crying out, how long? The oppressed over the weight of racism and classism are crying, God, how long? And if I'm walking on your street this morning, if I'm ringing your doorbell, I need to tell you, don't give up, don't quit, because God's silence is not divine neglect, it is divine strategy. Let me give it to you this way. Sometimes God's silence is like leaving a voicemail on somebody's voice message over and over again. Keep calling someone over and over again. You keep leaving the message over and over and again. And you keep doing it in spite of the fact that they don't reply. Here's the question I have for you. Why do you keep calling? Why do you keep leaving the voice message? Why do you keep waiting for them to reply? I'll tell you why. It's because you believe that there is somebody on the other end. Come here, let me talk to you this morning. You need to understand that God is on the other end. When your call doesn't get answered when you want it to get answered, God is on the other end. When you call with tears in your eyes, he's on the other end. When you're crying from the pain that's in your body, he's on the other end. When you're begging and interceding on the behalf of your children, God is on the other end. When you're knocking on heaven's door during the midnight hour, he's on the other end. He may not pick up when you want him to, but he's on the other end. He's still on the other end in the midst of the silence, and you may not get an answer like you want it. You may not get an answer when you want it, but he's still on the other end. Will somebody shout, he's on the other end. He's on the other end when the doctor is giving you bad reports. He's on the other end when the doctor shakes his head. He's on the other end when the bills pile up higher than your money. He's on the other end when your children are acting up and acting out. He's on the other end when your prayers are echoing in emptiness. He's on the other end when friends turn their back and walk away from you. He's on the other end in the midnight hour when tears are on your pillow. He's on the other end. Don't quit yet. This text in which David cries out with intense vigor, where are you, God? It appears you're silent. David, in his words, tells us a word about the silence that stings. But that's not all this text. When you hold it up, when you touch it, it says a word about the prayer that presses through. Somebody say, press through it. It's in the text. Notice that even though God appears to be silent, David doesn't stop praying. He presses through. Listen to David's word. Look on me and answer, Lord my God. Give light to my eyes. Oh, I was sleeping deaf. Well, what is David saying? He's saying, Lord, if you don't move, I won't make it. This ain't casual prayer. This is desperate prayer. This word in the Hebrew, look, it means to fix your eyes on me. David is saying, God, I don't need you to just gaze. I don't need you to just have a glimpse. I need you to lock your eyes on me. I need to feel the gaze of you on me. I need you to let me know that you see me, that you see what's going on, that you see what I'm going through. God, look at me, look on me. Can I give you some theology this morning for somebody who misinterprets God's silence, for somebody who misinterprets tears? Lament is not losing faith. Lament is still faith. Don't confuse lamenting with doubt. Don't confuse crying with doubt. Lament is faith crying through tears, but holding on to hope. In other words, you can still have hope and still shed some tears. You can still have hope and still cry. You can still believe and trust God, but you experience a moment in which you mourn and you lament. I like the way Augustine says. He says, our tears are prayers that we cannot speak. I believe that's what our foreparents used to mean when they used to say, sometimes when I couldn't say anything, sometimes when I couldn't get any words out my mouth, I would just wave my hand, and sometimes I would just moan. Is there anybody here this morning who's ever been in a trial, a storm so intense you couldn't even get the words out, but you just moaned, you just waved your hand, and it wasn't that you had lost faith, you was trusting and believing in God even in the midst of your crying and your tears. You know, a child bangs on a locked door, and he bangs because he believes somebody's home. He bangs because he believes someone's on the inside. In other words, prayer that presses through says, I'm knocking because I know you can hear me. I'm knocking because I know you're on the other end. I know you're on the other side. Prayer is not about changing God's mind. It's about holding on until he changes your heart. It's about holding on and understanding that sometimes he doesn't bring you out, but he will come in. He won't bring you out of every storm. He doesn't make every bad report go away. He doesn't make every dark cloud goes away, but he'll walk with you through the valley. He'll get in the storm with you. He'll walk with you when you're mourning and crying in the midnight hours. I don't need everybody, but I wish I had somebody who can testify that God didn't bring you out, but he got in with you. Is there anybody here who knows what it's like to pray and have to press your way through the silence? You've had to pray and press your way through chemo. Pray and press your way through the courtroom. Pray and press your way through lonely nights. Pray and press your way when you didn't see a way out, and you look at yourself in the mirror and you say, through all my pressing, through all my pain, I'm still here, and I don't even look like what I've been through because God went through it with me. Pray through it. Press through it. When sickness lingers, pray through it, press through it. When money run out, pray through it, press through it. When children go astray, pray through it, press through it. When the storms won't pass, pray through it. Lament isn't passive, it's pressing. David says, it feels like you're silent, but I'm not going to stop praying. I'm going to press through it. He gives us a word about the silence that stings and the prayer that presses through. Can I give you one more takeaway, and I bid you good morning? This text also says a word about the trust that transforms. I don't want you to miss your shout here. This way I shout. I think I got about 10 shouts in on for this one. I'm hoping you get one, at least one. Come close to me, because you don't want to miss this. Here's the turning point in the text. David doesn't get an answer. He doesn't get an explanation for why he's going through what he's going through. Contextually, David is crying out because there is corruption in the city, is corruption in his country. It seems like the wicked is winning and the righteous are losing. And David wants to know, Lord, where are you? Do you see what's going on? He's crying out. But notice this, I don't want you to miss it. David doesn't get an answer for God. He doesn't get an explanation from God, but he gets a revelation, and he says, but I trust in your unfailing love. Come closer to me. Watch the movement in the text. Psalms 13 begins with anguish, begins with crying, begins with lament, but it ends with adoration. The silence didn't change, but David's spirit did. A turning point takes place in David's heart and spirit. This phrase, unfailing love, it means a covenant love. It means steadfast love. It means the kind of love that sticks, the kind of love that stays, the kind of love that won't let go. David says, I don't have an answer, an explanation to all my interrogatives. I got questions, but they're not getting answered. I got problems and they're not getting solved. But I believe in your steadfast love. I believe in your covenant love. I believe that you will stick with me through the thick and thin. I believe that you will stay with me when I'm going and when I'm coming. And so instead of David allowing his situation and circumstance to keep him down, he begins to trust in the character and the fidelity of God, and a shift in the mood begins to take place. Church, oh my goodness, your confidence must be rooted in the attribute and the character of God. It must be rooted in the fact that he's a covenant God who never forgets the promises that he's made. Can I say it to you like this here? God's love is like the sun behind the clouds. You may see it, but you may not see it, but the sun's still shining. Clouds can cover the sun, but it can't cancel the sun. Yeah, y'all missed it. You missed it. I'm going to say it again. The clouds can cover the sun, but they can't cancel the sun. So you're thinking about the S-U-N. I'm talking about the S-O-N. Silence can cover his love, but it cannot cancel God's love. Charles Spurgeon says, God is too good to be unkind, too wise to make a mistake. And when you cannot trace his hand, you must trust his heart. Somebody needs to know your silent season is not a waste. God is tuning in. God is listening. God is touching your heart. God is training your faith. God is transforming your trust, because God is bigger than your problem. He's bigger than the silence. He's bigger than the struggle. He's bigger than the mountains. He's bigger than the valleys. Church, nothing about David's circumstances shifts, but his posture shifts. Nothing about his situation changes, but everything in his spirit changes. David doesn't just go through anguish. He goes from anguish to adoration, from questioning God to trusting God, from asking how long to saying, I will sing. And here's how you know when you've reached a turning point like David in the midst of your trials, in the midst of your tests, in the midst of your tears. Can I tell you how you know when you've reached a turning point? Can I tell you how you know when you shift from crying to adoration, from petitioning and asking questions to praise, because you begin to engage in self-talk. You don't know what I'm talking about? Some of you look like you don't know what I'm talking about. When you begin to engage in self-talk. Here's how you know that you've made the shift, that the shift has turned you, and you stopped asking and you started trusting. You stopped wondering and you start relying. You begin to say things like this: I won't complain. You begin to say things like this to yourself: change gonna come. You begin to say something like this to yourself: Jesus will fix it. I don't know when, but I know it'll be after a while. You begin to say something like, he's able. Is there anybody here who knows he's able? I'm done. I'm done. I've got to quit, but I need to tell you, when you turn to the cross, you see Jesus crying out, my God, why have you forsaken me? If anybody knew anything about the sting of silence, it was the Son of God. But even in that silence, God was working. The silence of Friday set the stage for the shout on Sunday. Somebody should have shouted right there. Friday had a voice, it shouted death wins, but Sunday had a louder voice, it shouted Jesus lives. I've got to quit, but I need to tell somebody that silence isn't a period, it's a comma. God doesn't finish, and he's not finished writing your story yet, so hold on. He still has his divine pen. He's writing new chapters. He's writing a new book. Whatever chapter you're in right now, he's not done with you. He's still working with you. He's still walking with you. He's still got a blessing for you. And so hold on before you quit. Don't throw the towel in. Just keep walking with him. I've got to quit, but I need to tell you, Joe, I got to go, Joe. I need to tell you, when God feels like silence, he's still sovereign. When God feels like he's quiet, he's still keeping covenant. When God feels absent, he's still almighty. Yes, he is. I've got to quit, but I need to tell somebody, he may not have and he may not come when you want him to, but he will show up. I need to tell somebody that you may not hear his voice, but you can trust his love. You may not sense his presence, but you can trust it and have enough faith to sing your song. Everybody ought to have a song in your heart that you can sing when you're in the valley. Everybody ought to have a song that you can sing when you're going through. I've got to quit, but I need to tell somebody, 'tis so sweet to trust in Jesus, just to take him at his word, just to rest upon his promises, just to know what the Savior is Lord. If you know he's worthy, give him some praise. If you know he's faithful, give him some praise. If you know he's on the other end, give him some praise. If you know he's still working, give him some praise. I've got to quit, but I need to tell you this: weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. Tears on your pillow, joy's on the way. Trouble in your house, joy's on the way. Storm in your life, joy's on the way. Unspeakable joy, unshakable joy, everlasting joy, unmovable joy. The night can't stop it. The devil can't block it. Your past can't kill it. The pain can't stop it. Joy, 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 joy comes in the morning. Yes, it does. When God feels silent, when he feels he's turned his back and walked away, he's hidden his face. No. Silence doesn't mean absence. He's on the other end. And he's walking with you through the thick and thin. He's on the other end. He feels every tear that drops, every pain and ache. He sees it all. When it feels like God's silence. That's the message for this morning.
I feel like going on. I feel like going on. I feel like going on.
Anybody feel like going on?
Those trials come on every hand. I feel like going on. I feel like pressing on. I feel like pressing on. Those trials come on every hand. I feel like going on. Those trials come on every hand. I feel like going on.
If you're worshiping in person or online, and you don't have a grace relationship with Jesus Christ or a church home, we want to extend these two invitations to you. An invitation to enter into a grace relationship with Jesus Christ. If you don't have a church home, we would love for you to be a part of this family we affectionately refer to as the River. Is there one? If you're in person, if you meet me down front, if that's you, don't have a church home, don't have a grace relationship with Christ, will you meet me down front? If you're online, just follow the instructions. Is there anyone here in person? Don't have a grace relationship, don't have a church home. Is there anyone online? If you're online, just follow the instructions. If you're in person, just meet me down front. I'll meet you down front. Is there one? Here's the good news about both of those invitations. Jesus would love to be your Lord and Savior, and I would love to be your pastor. Is there one? God bless you. God keep you is our prayer. Give God some praise. Praise God. Praise God.